In this video, we are going to factor expressions. You factor expressions using the greatest common factor. And that greatest common factor could be a number or it could be a variable. So you want to make sure you're looking for both. So let's examine the three terms that we have. Here are variables an x, a y, and a w, so they do not have a variable in common. So now let's look for a number. So we're looking for that greatest common factor. So I have 8, 12, and 20. And I'll tell you what I think would be the easiest is to take a look at the smallest number that I have, 8, and start listing the factors that I have for 8. So my factors for 8, of course, are 1, 2, 4, and 8. So what's the largest factor of those that I can also remove from 12 and 20? And that answer is going to be the 4. So we can put 4 outside of the parentheses, and now as we pull that factor out, we're really just dividing each term by 4. So this first term is going to be 2x squared plus 3y minus 5w. And you can always double check it by multiplying each term by the 4 and making sure it's still equivalent. So here's a second example. Again, I'm going to start the same way. Are there any variables in common in the three terms? So we have x, xy, and x. So x is in common. So we can pull the x out in front of the parentheses. Are there any numbers where we can pull out a factor? So 5, 10 would share a factor, and then 12. So 5 is prime. So since it's a prime number, I would have to be able to get a factor of 5 out of both 10 and 12 in order to simplify. Since I can't, I cannot pull out the 5. So we need to pull out an x from x cubed. So of course, x cubed is the same as x times x times x. So I'm pulling one of those factors of x out and putting it in front of the variable. So I'm left with x squared. So 5x squared plus 10y, because I've removed the x, plus 12, because again, I removed the x at the beginning of the parentheses. So here's our final example. So I see x cubed, x squared, and y, and x and y. So they have one x in common, so that can be pulled out. And let's see about a number. So as we take a look, we have 24, 12, and 18. They're all even. I can pull out a 2. I can pull out a 3 from each of them. And if I can pull out a 2 and a 3, I can pull out a 6. And I cannot pull out a 12. So 6 is the greatest factor I can pull out. So pull out my 6. And now I write the expressions I'm left with. 6 times 4 is 24. We already have one x, so it's going to be x squared, plus 6 times 2 is 12. Again, we have one of the x's where the x squared becomes just x, and our y, minus, keeping that sign, 6 times 3 is 18. We've pulled out the x in front of the parentheses, and we're left with the y, and close our parentheses. And again, if you need to, you can double check by multiplying this expression by the 6x.